What's going on, FA Nation? Welcome to the Fantasy Lounge DFS NBA live stream. John Impemba here with James Grande. James, final game of the regular season. We end it with an 11-game slate. Welcome to the Fantasy Lounge DFS NBA live. I don't know who's playing. It's a bunch of backups you probably haven't heard. Some G Leaguers, some rookies. I mean, hell, last night we had a lot of old-time vets go off. Jamal Crawford put up 50 actual, 70 fantasy points. We had like a 400-point total needing to win last night. I don't know about you. I just can't wait for playoff basketball to start. We dig into these DFS slates for the NBA playoffs. They're like those perfect, 5-6 gamers, something of that. We know all the starters are playing 35 minutes. We know there's 8-man benches. We know who to attack. I'm ready to get this regular season over with the way this end is coming. But we have one more playbook to go through. 11 games tonight. You were the man that did it. How are you feeling?
I mean, again, you just, I think when I was writing the playbook, I blacked out a little bit. Just reading the names that I was actually typing out kind of hurt my brain. But, I mean, I feel good about it. I'm with you. I am on your side. I am super ecstatic to get the postseason here. I want the postseason. There's nothing we're really waiting on. Pistons and Hornets. Those are the only two playoff teams that could – or the Pistons could lose and the Hornets win and they make the playoffs. And then the Western Conference 6 through 8 could change, and the East 6 through 8 could change. So there's not a lot of teams playing for a lot. So there's just today's slate. It is what it is. There are a billion injuries. There are a billion players sitting out. There are a billion Vegas totals that have changed. The Vegas totals, I don't even know if they mean anything tonight because. Okay. We don't know who these guys are, if they're able to score, if they're able to, we thought the Knicks Bulls last night, they didn't even hit 200 points. The Suns, Mavs, two of the worst teams in the NBA, goes for 300 points. So, I mean.
That was crazy.
This slate is going to be crazy. I'm just ready to get into it. But I know you have some to give to the people before we do.
I do. I ended the live stream yesterday with the read. We'll kick it off today with our read because it is the MLB season. Obviously, it's already begun, and we've been busy already raking in the dough in DFS and keeping our seasonal teams on course for a championship. With the MLB Playbook Pro, you get analysis, customizable tools, playbooks, example lineups, ownership percentages, and a lineup generator that also uses actual analysis and not just a computer-rated algorithm. For seasonal players, you get our new League Sync tool. Allows you to sync your fantasy teams directly to our website. You go to fantasylounge.com/MLB season. You save instantly. You get that $200 package for just $75, and you win the whole season. That's fantasylounge.com/MLB season. See the green in your fantasy contest today. James, as we said, we already had some day baseball today. We got some night baseball tonight to go through. We got NHL playoffs are starting, so everything's going on right now in the DFS world, and getting the MLB package on board with you guys is certainly a great buy for sure.
Yeah, it helped me take home a nice little pretty penny last night.
You almost had it, right? You just needed Christian Yelich to come through for you.
Yeah, nothing like relying on an MVP to really bring it home and then not have him do it. That's always fun.
It is tough. But let's kick it off. Let's get that 11-gamer slate going. As we said, you did the playbook today. We had a total of, how many plays did we put in here today? 35. Not bad. We've definitely had more. We're in the 60s last week. So, James, kick it off at the top. Do the point guard position here. We talk about teams that have things that are still competing for playoff spots in positioning. So Russell Westbrook gets Milwaukee. Kemba Walker here against Orlando, and a must-win for them to keep their playoff hopes alive. Those are the top two price guys in the playbook. Which direction are you leaning? Do you have a favorite between the two?
So I think it's contingent on Paul George because we know Paul George is questionable. I think if George sits, I might lean Westbrook. I do like Kemba, the fact that he last night, got the fourth quarter off because they blew Cleveland out. So I like the price, the discount off to go into Kemba. I think I'd lean Westbrook if Paul George were ruled out. I like them both, but I think there's a lot of spend downs today, particularly TJ McConnell. He's an elite value today. Quinn Cook, we know can score the basketball. He's an elite value. Seth Curry's without Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. So I think a lot of people will be spending down. So I think the contrarian route is to go up to Kemba or to Westbrook. You can even go to Trae Young. They had no problem putting him back after a game of rest. He went off. We've seen 60-point upside. I think you go to Trae Young. Tyus Jones has had a really safe floor pretty much for the last month since the Jeff Teague and Derrick Rose news broke that they were going to miss the rest of the year. And then Jamal Murray, the Nuggets are blowing it. They could potentially, they have to win tonight to get the 2 seed. So I suspect we see Murray and Jokic and guys like that play a full complement of minutes because they don't want to go into Houston. You don't want to go into Houston. They're so good at home. They want that home court for any amount of series as they possibly can. So I think we could see Jamal Murray play a lot of minutes. So I think he's an interesting GPP play that not many people look into.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually big on Trae Young tonight. We saw Luka obviously have that triple-double last night. Young, final game of the regular season. I think he wants to make an impression on everybody tonight. And, he could definitely go off and try to make that final case for that Rookie of the Year. We're just getting some starting lineups out here. The 76ers are starting TJ McConnell, my boy, my favorite player, my guy right there. $3,500, $3,400 spending down. Thoughts on, he's going to play a lot of minutes tonight. Like, they're just playing their scrubs, and they get that matchup against Chicago, so it's not like it's a tough spot for him either. If we're going down, you have McConnell and Quinn Cook. How are you deciding between the two here?
I like them both. I think it's a way to go. I think if you don't want to spend up and you want to spend up elsewhere, I know there aren't a lot of spend up spots. You just play them both. And I think that's perfectly fine for cash. I think that's perfectly fine for GPP as well. And I'll throw like I mentioned, Seth Curry into that player pool as well.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's go on over to shooting guard. I don't know if Jakar Sampson works as a shooting guard or not, but we just got notification the Bulls did not re-sign him to the 10-day contract. So Sampson not with the team, but that probably impacts guys like Wayne Selden possibly, or some other potential shooting guards here over in Chicago. I know we're not starting up at the top of your favorite plays, but you are a Bulls fan, so where are we looking here? Is it just put more emphasis on like Lemon, or do you have another option here to replace him?
I mean, I wanted to play Jakar Sampson. I was playing him in like all formats. I mean, he took 16 shots last night.
Yeah.
It's probably Walt Lemon Jr. and we know Shaq Harrison's probable to play, so it's probably those two guys specifically. Timothy Luwu Cabaret could be another option. I mean, he played 24 minutes last night, regardless, with Jakar Sampson there. Other than that, though, you don't need to. I don't think you need to force any of these Bulls into your lineup. Like, we thought, it's just not sexy. It's not appealing. They didn't even score 100 points versus the Knicks last night. So I don't think we need to do it. If I were to give anyone a bump, it would be Lawu Cabaret, Harrison, and Wayne Selden, but not enough for me to go change my lineups everywhere.
Yeah, that's fair enough. All right, let's go to the top here at shooting guard. I was skeptical to play Luka last night. You had the whole thing around Dirk. I figured he was going to take a lot of the shots. He did. You also had some potential injury concerns there with Doncic. That didn't turn out to be an issue as he went for a triple-double. We have D'Angelo Russell against Miami. Dylan Wright continues to go up and play good basketball. Where are you going at the top of the shooting guard here?
I think you can use Luka in all formats. He's obviously very fond of just getting Dirk the ball, feeding Dirk, so the assists are going to be there. And what I wrote in the playbook, I think kind of holds true, that with Dirk on the floor, they lose a inside presence, at least a rebounding presence, which is why we saw Luka grab 16 boards. They need somebody who can actually move and walk and run in the paint. So I think Luka's fine all formats. D'Angelo Russell for tournaments. The Nets want the 6th seed, which they currently sit in. If they win, they get the 6th. They could lose and they could end up the 8th seed. So I think they need to win tonight because Orlando obviously could surpass them. So I like him. I think DeLon Wright is probably the safest of the group because he's, the only one in Memphis that means a damn to them. They got him in the trade. I think he's fine for all formats. I don't know how I feel about Dwayne Wade. I think that's the one guy. Him and Dirk are the two guys, because I think like their send-offs were last night as it should have been. So like yes, they're both playing, but how much energy are they going to have left after playing 30 plus minutes and taking 30 plus shots each? So like I don't know. Like if you want to play Wade and
it doesn't feel right for them to have to go on the court. Like let last night be the night.
I agree.
Why are they going to go on the road and it's not going to feel the same. Like maybe they get to start the game, they get subbed out, they can get like the final standing O from the away crowd if they're that crowd's into it or whatnot. But yeah, I agree with you. I'm probably off Wade, Dirk, but as you said, we could be completely wrong. They could go out there and fire off as many shots again and end it that way. Question in chat, our girl Shay, without Sampson, who can we play now at small forward in place of him? She asked if we can play Joe Ingles. What are your thoughts on that question?
And he's the only healthy Jazz player. I just don't know how many minutes he's going to play, right? Why would it make... They're sitting everyone, right? And they have Ingles here. Why would he just be like, all right, we're just going to let Joe play 40 minutes? I mean, the pivots off of Sampson aren't, like, the best. I think the rest of the position are just a bunch of spend downs. So, I mean, if you want to talk about small forward now, we can. I mean, I think, like, Alfonso McKinney could be an option. I think Jonathan Simmons is going to be a pretty popular option, even though he's not starting, which I find interesting.
Yeah.
Furkan Korkmaz is. But I think Simmons is playing 20-plus minutes tonight. I think he's a very viable option. Karis LeVert over on DraftKings is small forward eligible. He's been a steady player in their rotation. I hate, like, it's just small forward sucks. It is what it is. This is the top of the small forward position. Giannis is out. Paul George is questionable. Kevin Durant is most likely not going to play. Mario Hezonja is questionable. Danilo Gallinari is doubtful. Otto Porter's out. JJ Redick's out. Bojan Bogdanovic out. Jakar Sampson not on a team. So the top 9 options are not viable tonight. So,
yeah, I mean, if you're on DraftKings, you can play the Miami guys. You can play Ross or Fournier.
Right. You can play Kevin Knox too.
Yeah, Knox. Yeah.
Kevin Knox is fine. I compared him. Peripheral stats and Kevin Knox are like hot sauce and cereal. It just doesn't go together. But like you said yesterday, he got 10 rebounds.
Points.
Yeah, 10 rebounds and averaged 7 over his last 5 games. So maybe that hot sauce is turning into milk. So I think Kevin Knox is a fine pivot. I know it's like $1,200 difference on FanDuel at least, but now we have more money to spend elsewhere.
Yeah. Kabakalo maybe. Throw him in.
Kabakalo, yeah, I mean, he has to play. If Tyler Zeller is going to foul out in 20 minutes again, then they have no backup. So now it's Kabakalo and Rab playing power forward and center the whole game. Kabakalo is fine too. I don't mind him. I wrote him in up with Ivan Rab in their blurb.
Yeah, that's fine. Any other small forwards? And we just rambled off a bunch from them. Any other ones you're sort of targeting tonight at least?
I think Evan Turner could be interesting because we saw like the triple-double upside when McCollum was out, and then McCollum returns and he stops playing minutes. Now McCollum's out again, and Damian Lillard's out again. Seth Curry is more of a scorer than he is like a ball handler, so maybe we'll see Turner play alongside Curry and be like that primary ball handler for them. Less than 2% ownership. I think that's interesting. So only tournaments, like literally don't trust him in a cash game. That's crazy. But for a tournament play, no one's going to play him. I think Evan Turner could be in play.
All right, fair enough. Let's go on over to power forward. Where are we going here? I know at the top of the list, you list out John Collins, Aaron Gordon, Marvin Bagley. Do you have a favorite of the 3?
Probably Gordon for tournaments, just because they're jockeying for position. Collins is the highest projected owned player of the 3. So I think I'd have most faith in him in cash just because ownership, just because he scored 20-plus actual points in 4 straight games. And then Marvin Bagley, we know if he gets 30 minutes, there's upside. He has 30 minutes in back-to-back games, double-double in both. So, I mean, I like all of them. I would probably rank them cash, Collins, Gordon, Bagley, and then tournaments, Gordon, Bagley, Collins. But, the rest of the position is ugly. Ivan Rabb, you mentioned. Luke Cornett Every time Luke Cornett gets minutes, he seems like he's just going off.
Yeah, right.
38 and 48 fantasy points his last 2 games, 35-plus minutes in both. And then I threw DJ Wilson in there, and I know Ersan got a lot of love in the ownership report. But Wilson's been the one playing 20-plus minutes on a night-to-night basis, so why not give him the run? I mean, he's the younger guy. They probably want Ersan for the playoffs, the seasoned vet as opposed to the young rookie. So I think Wilson could be the guy that benefits greatly for Milwaukee tonight. But I don't have a lot of interest in the rest of the power forward position.
On FanDuel, Kem Birch is a power forward.
Yeah.
Against the Hornets?
Yeah. I mean, again, he's going to probably play a lot because they're trying to...
Already announces the starter.
Right, and they're trying to win games. So I think you can do it. He's min salary, right? I mean...
Yeah, close to $100 more.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, we're playing. There's he's gonna get the minutes, he's gonna get the run, good energy guy, and we've attacked Charlotte at the front court all year. So I think Kem Birch. This is the first time we've actually liked Kem Birch, and all the times we've talked about him, this is the time. So Kem Birch is fine. Yeah.
Now Orlando's locked in, right? So is there just possible value, or
they're in? They can move up to 6 or down to 8. So
they're not trying to lose tonight. They definitely
want to win, right? Because you either get Philly, who is, I think personally,
beatable,
and we've talked about this, a better chance to be beaten than it is going into Toronto and beating them in a 5-game series.
For sure, definitely, especially the way Orlando's sneaky, man. They have some guys there that can shoot, and they got a lot of length, and Orlando's a sneaky team. Who would have thought? All right, let's finish this up. Let's run to center. Andre Drummond went off last night against Memphis for 62. We sort of figured. I know I was worried a little bit with Blake being back, but Rab and Tyler Zeller weren't going to do anything really to stop him. Gets the matchup here against the Knicks. I know Mitchell Robinson is there, but Robinson's super foul happy. He's the guy that blocks shots and whatnot, but I think again Drummond should be in a prime spot really to dominate this matchup. Jokic obviously the top there against Minnesota. He didn't have a good game at all against Utah. What's your feelings here at the top of the center position?
So I think this is the best position on the board. And I think on DraftKings it's a take advantage. You can use 2, 3 of them if you throw Gorgie Jang in there at power forward. Drummond, I think, is the top play of the slate, considering what they need. I mean, it's the Knicks. You mentioned he's foul happy. There's no Blake. Well, Blake is doubtful.
Still doubtful, yeah.
So I think Drummond's the best play of the slate. We've seen in 6 of the last 7 games, he's gone for 52 plus, and 4 of those 6, he's gone for 60. I think Drummond is the safest spend up on the slate. Just considering, again, they need to win this game, and we saw last night he was dominant. I think he could be dominant again tonight. Jokic is, I can repeat exactly what I said about Jamal Murray. They're screwing up. They need to win tonight. He fouled out in 16 minutes last night. Do I think that happens again? No, obviously.
Insane.
I mean, Gorgie Jang isn't the same offensive player as Rudy Gobert can be, and is not going to foul Jokic out. So I think there's upside to Jokic. I think he's the pivot off of Drummond. But the rest of the position, you mentioned Mitchell Robinson, again, he's not flashing any offensive ability. He's still very raw offensively, but he's so good on the glass and he's so good at blocking shots. There is a lot of value, at least on FanDuel. I think there's more value on FanDuel just because the extra point. Yeah, the extra point we get if he gets 6 blocks, which isn't out of the question considering him and Drummond are going to be under the paint or under the rim the entire game. That's 18 points over on FanDuel compared to 12 on DK. So that could be a big difference. They haven't, Portland is benching everyone except Enes Kanter, which I found weird. And Kanter continues to just dominate. If there's not going to be, some type of restriction on him, I think he could be very sneaky, a very sneaky elite play, considering what we're seeing out of him with Lillard and McCollum in the lineup. I mean, he went for almost 50 last night, 2 nights ago, whenever they last played. And then I think there's a bunch of value. There's Greg Monroe, who's playing minutes, and the Sixers are benching everybody, not playing anybody. There's Kevin Looney, who we know is always played with DeMarcus Cousins out. There's Tyler Zeller, who had another good game last night. He just fouls everybody. And then Gorgie Jang, who I think is the safest of the four. And Kem Birch I'll even throw in there because he's a center, but for whatever reason, vandalism, power forward. Gorgie Jang is probably the safest. I mean, we saw he kind of played like as a mini Towns. He scores 16 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists.
He's a very good player.
Yeah,
right?
he is a very good player.
He got stuck with, them bringing in other guys to play over him. So
right. And Karl-Anthony Towns happens to be the guy in front of him too.
Right.
So
right.
You're not going to play many minutes, but like I think he is the best option. So like of this like value tier. So I really think that if you want to use 3 centers tonight, I'm okay with it because I mean, you can use Gorgie Jang in a forward spot that maybe you were looking like, ooh, small forward's really weak. Well, now I can just play Gorgie Jang on DraftKings at forward and not have to worry about that. So I think center is my favorite position. Small forward's absolutely the worst. It's a dumpster fire. Point guard's where you get your value. Shooting guard, there's really good spend ups, and power forward is also. I think forward tonight is just disgusting as a whole, but that's kind of the breakdown that I have.
What do you think about these 2 names I'll throw at you here? We have Thon Maker, potentially no Blake Griffin, and then Kyle O'Quinn. There's obviously no Turner. There's no Thad Young. Sabonis is going to play, but who knows really how many minutes he's going to play. Again, they can't go anywhere in that game. It would be stupid for them to play him and let him get hurt. Those are 2 more mid-price options. Any interest?
So O'Quinn, I didn't mean to exclude. I think he's a very solid play. I'm interested also in TJ Leaf on that team too, in that front court. And then I already forgot who the first guy was.
Thon Maker.
Thon Maker. So the weird thing about Thon Maker is that like Blake played 15 minutes before he couldn't play anymore last night because he's clearly hurt and he shouldn't be playing. Good for you for trying, but like you clearly shouldn't be playing basketball. You can't move. Thon Maker didn't play. Like he played 9 minutes. So that's a little scary. I think they're just going with more veterans. Like Wayne Ellington's played 35 plus minutes every night.
Yeah.
So maybe in like theory in a GPP, it's not crazy to think, but seeing that in a game that they needed to win, and even being down 30, I mean, they only played Thon Maker 9 minutes. That doesn't like make me any like more encouraged to play him on another night where they need to win. So
Leaf, McDermott, Evans, and Collison are the starting lineup.
Doug McDermott, there's a small forward value for you because small forward is so disgusting. You can play Doug McDermott, you can play TJ Leaf, you can play Kyle O'Quinn. I think they're all viable. They're all viable options.
All right. James, final thoughts here. Last regular season slate of the year, and then we got playoffs. What are you thinking?
John, it's been a pleasure, brother, this whole season. I know we still have the playoffs to do, but it's been a pleasure being on the other side of the glass.
Yeah.
Every live stream, shout out to Steve Pimental, shout out to Justin Fensterman, shout out to Matt Sells, who's been behind the screen producing these continuously throughout the season. Thanks to the whole DFS NBA team. It's been an amazing season. We've had amazing success, and we're only going to grow from here. We're only going to get better, and we're going to have a killer postseason. And that's how I'll leave my little spiel.
I agree with everything that James just said, so we'll leave it at that. Perfectly worded. Good luck, everybody.
Later, guys.